Hi everyone, welcome to today's Ask Sibs, episode 36. Hope you've had a lovely weekend and a good start to Monday and a good start to the week. Going to be talking a little bit about a post I put on my channels earlier. Now, you probably know that I've had the sort of title influencer or disabled influencer, sort of not imposed, that sounds a bit negative, but cast upon me over the years. And unhappily, I've got no negativity of being called a disabled influencer, but I've always said in general my kind of influence has not been in the way that we talk about social media influencers, particularly the way we talk about it at Purple Goat and the Goat Agency. So by that, the influencers that we work with generally have got more follower numbers. I'd say on my Instagram, I've got about 2,500, which isn't bad. And there are some people we've worked with of a similar follower number, but the people we work with are far more prolific in the content they create, the storytelling, and most importantly, and this is a bit of an influencer 101 tip for you, but it's all about engagement. That's the most important metric. And so, yeah, as much as I have happily been called an influencer over the years, I would say my influence has always been more around the fact that I've co-founded like the magazine, some businesses, got lots of really great partners and colleagues and acquaintances in the disability world. So there's a sort of more, you could even say like more of a traditional influence when I've been called an influencer, whereas under the influencer marketing banner, if you like, it's something that I've not doubled down on as much because obviously my part to play in the inclusion jigsaw puzzle, as I often call it, is a little bit more around the entrepreneur side and sort of trying to do those bigger picture partnerships and all that kind of stuff. So I just thought it was quite a useful delineation and differential to make about different types of influencers in general, and obviously where I sort of think I fit within those types of influencers. Having said that, I do still, I've always enjoyed when I get the chance to create content and storytell, get creative. I really enjoy that creative process. And when I do get around to writing a blog on martinsibby.com or put up some sort of photos and captions on my Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, the usual suspects. I enjoy it, which for me, it's not a pursuit of trying to become a social media influencer, but it's sort of a hobby and something I enjoy. And then obviously the live streams, as I've said a few times, that I do every day are about that raising awareness of all the different parts of the inclusion puzzle. But all this is to say that today, having a really cool experience on the weekend with a brand. So it was a full disclosure. I was talking to this brand called Chefly as to whether we might be able to do some, sort of broader influencer marketing work with them. And as we were talking, I was explaining that forget Purple Goat, forget bigger marketing budgets or marketing campaigns, but I, on a personal level, I'm unable to cook physically. I've not got the upper body strength and reach to actually prepare meals. And then, Cash, with my fiance, is an amazing, phenomenal cook. And so, I think just a disclosure when we're talking about this meal brand that I'll talk about a bit more in a second, it's not from any negativity of Cash's cooking. She's a phenomenal cook. But it's sort of, there are times that, it's not always possible for her to cook. And also I want to, as an equal partner in our relationship, want to be able to cook as well. And so it starts to come up with this broader problem that I know a lot of disabled people have, is that there's not the ability to do certain things, but there's the mindset and the philosophy to still want to do it in our own different way, if you like. So one of I talked on my post that there are various workarounds. So one workaround is that I sometimes have, personal care assistants that can assist with the cooking. So that's obviously a really good, important workaround in general. Another one is takeaway. So I can just, get on Just Eat or, any other sort of apps and home delivered takeaway food. And that's another option. But there are other times that, for example, the takeaways aren't always the most healthy option. Particularly, I live out in Cambridgeshire, so there's not the variety of different, brands and takeaway options. I'm sure somewhere like London has got a lot more, different healthier options and everything. But broadly speaking, there's some things where we just agree, for the sake of this conversation, a bit less healthy about certain takeaways. And yeah, also there's sometimes that the personal care assistants, for whatever reason, aren't able to help with the cooking. So the point is, I was always looking for this: how can I do a bit more of that arranging and sorting out a meal? So chatting to this brand called Chefly, and so unlike Mindful Chef and HelloFresh, where the food arrives and it's sort of you've got the right portion sizes, you've got the recipe, the ingredients and all that kind of stuff, you still have to then do certain things in preparing. So the difference that Chefly have is that the food has already been prepared and cooked. So it's literally, when it arrives, put it in the fridge or the freezer, you can heat it up within 10 to 15 minutes. So obviously all of this is to say, there's a comment coming, I'll come to that in a second. But yeah, all of this is to say that it was a different workaround. And I say, there's lots of other workarounds that I've used and other disabled people have used. But when we bring it into the influencer marketing narrative, it's interesting, right? Because not many people in the rest of society, if you like, or non-disabled people, would know about this challenge that someone like myself has. So it's quite almost educational to spread that's my reality, that's my experience, that people learn from and go, they sort of generally think, I never realized that. So I think that's a good thing. And that's where more representation of disability in advertising and marketing is good for that social brand and social impact. So it had that benefit. But then, yeah, obviously to talk about the fact that the product solves a real problem that I have, and the actual Chefly brand is a really good sort of use case for lots of other disabled people, it made sense to talk about it. So I thought I'd roll my sleeves up and just almost have that experience. Josh has written something as well. I am going to share these comments with you. It's really hard to present and produce a show, by the way. Maybe next year there'll be enough resources at Purple Gate that someone will be able to help with the production side, and I can just do the presenting side. But anyway, so that, if you wondered why I had shared that photo and the copy, which sort of is summarizing, what I've just explained in a bit more detail today, there's a bit more of the backstory as to how it happened. And yeah, I just thought it'd be quite fun to actually roll my sleeves up and, take a photo the way our actual social media influencers are doing all the time on our Purple Gate campaigns, to write a caption. And then, yeah, the guys at Chefly were really kind enough to offer a 30% discount for the coupon code Martin. And one of my friends, Shabana, wrote to me that, you've made it when you got a coupon code. So it's a big day on a personal level. I've got my coupon code now. That's Martin with a Y, just in case you spell it with an I. And so, yeah, it's just been quite cool to try out the product. And it was really genuinely very delicious. And I think that's a really important point to make about influencer marketing, that there has to be that genuine, authentic storytelling. So if I'd have actually tried the food, it tasted disgusting, but then I told everyone that it was lovely, it's just not great. Obviously, it's just not right ethically and morally, but most importantly, it comes through, right? So just so you know, I had this really delicious steak with mashed potato, vegetables, and a sort of tomatoey sauce that gave it a bit of flavor and texture. And yeah, it was really, really delicious. And then the point was that Kasia didn't have to do all the cooking. I'd arranged it all with Chefly, and it was really easy to make it. And so that to talk that through was just quite a nice experience for me to see what our influencers go through. And then when I shared it on LinkedIn, it was also to make the point about these sort of things around inclusive marketing and what authentic copy and natural photography and all that kind of stuff look like. So yeah, in a way you could call this like a behind the scenes take of what as I said, what's that Chefly post all about? So you now know what that Chefly post is all about. So we got 2 comments. We've got Lewis on LinkedIn. It kind of forces us to count our calories even harder. Absolutely, mate, it does. Lewis has got SMA, spinal muscular atrophy, the same that I've got. As so has Josh, who says you can tell your max getting Chefly, Woohoo, Go Purple, Go NDH. So yeah, just to be clear, Josh, where there may be something down the road of a more bigger campaign, but it, for now, was just a nice little test for me to try the food and see what I thought, and for Chefly to see, you know, how it actually worked with disabled people. So yeah, we're definitely partnering and working with Chefly, but hopefully on a bigger scale as things develop going forward. So yeah, we'll be hoping to activate other influencers and tell different stories from not just wheelchair users like me, but blind people. I think there's a really interesting narrative around, you know, and there's also wheelchair users, unlike me, that are more able with their upper body in the kitchen, but still cook things differently. So there's all sorts of different ways to storytell, which is really interesting. And then Christopher saying, takeaway influencer, whatever next. Honestly, Chris, you know I'm all about Nando's. If anyone at Nando's is watching, you don't even have to give me a coupon code. It would just be a pleasure to do a tryout of Nando's as an influencer. It would be an absolute pleasure. So yeah, if anyone knows Nando's, please get in touch. So yeah, at the end of the day, it was quite a good use case of food, of direct-to-consumer products, of disability narrative, influencer storytelling. We've covered it all today. So I hope you've, I hope you found it interesting. Chris saying Nando's, exactly. So yeah, I am going to be known as the takeaway influencer now. And then Josh is saying he will be making it to Mars influencer, best buds with, what's that, with Elon? Absolutely, yeah, I'm happy to go to Mars with Elon Musk and eat Nando's on the way. So that's my future sorted now. As always, pleasure to be here and to share some random stories and experiences. And thanks for all the live comments. As always, good to get a bit of banter going on these lives. And hopefully, be back tomorrow for another live. So in the meantime, take care for now. Bye-bye.